So Pete, you run Mashable, it's probably one of the most successful sites on the web covering technology news. How did that start?
So I started Mashable when I was 19. I was living in Banchory, Scotland, a little town.
I haven't been there.
No, not many people have, but it's a nice little town.
Okay.
Maybe you should go. About 6,000 people when I was living there. But I wanted to get into technology, So I was 19. I'd just come out of high school.
Right.
And I was passionate about
And you weren't going to university. You were going to go.
Well, so I'd had, I'd had kind of a troubled school a little bit. I was sick a lot.
Right.
So I had low attendance.
Right.
I wanted to get into it, but I wasn't really, I was kind of a little bit rebellious as well, which might have been part of it. And
but that helps as being an entrepreneur, right? Being a little bit of a rebel.
That's probably a key part of it.
Right.
You want to, I wanted to do what I was passionate about, and if people said, be passionate about this, I couldn't really motivate myself, to do my individual subjects, but I was really passionate about writing and technology. So I started doing my own thing on the side pretty early, probably in my early teens. I started pretending to be a grown-up and writing for US magazines. So I'd submit, they do a lot of freelance commissions.
You?
I could have been. It could have been under my pen name. But I did a lot of freelancing for American ones, trying to get my writing skills up, trying to figure out what they're looking for. And I also started doing some entrepreneurial stuff. So then I got kind of more grandiose ambitions, and I thought, well...
And you were still, at this point, 17 or something?
Yeah, probably about 16, 17. But by the time I'd reached about just turned maybe 19, I started to think, well, how do I, I'm not going to go to university, how do I build something that actually makes a difference in the world? I was trying to understand technology, I was really passionate about it. I figured maybe other people wanted to learn about the stuff. I didn't live in Silicon Valley, I didn't really understand exactly
how the web worked. Yeah, you're a bit of an outsider being in Scotland,
but I kind of turned that to my advantage to some extent, because I wrote about things. It wasn't so much about, this person's moved from this company to this company, but was, here's this new website, here's why it matters to you. Here's the things that it does. It's all about utility, it's all about thinking about the reader first, and what are they going to get out of this? So that was incredibly valuable, and it was kind of the start of the social networking trend, so I was really passionate about it.
This is 2005?
2005.
So you were right at the right time, at the right moment as well.
Yeah, but it was just something I was really passionate about. So I started covering social networks and started getting a lot of traction there. And obviously people were passionate about what Mashable was doing, so we got a community going, and I'd get these tips sent in, and people would say, hey, I have this great new site that you should cover. Got a lot of momentum very quickly, and then I signed up my first advertiser. Probably took a while, probably took 6 months or so.
Were you the you were the salesman and the writer and the...
8 to 10 posts a day, plus if you can find, an hour at night. I worked probably 18-hour days, and this was on... The biggest problem I had wasn't the length of the day, but it was the time zone. So I was trying to compete with the West Coast of America. And in Britain, you would have to go to bed at 8 a.m. because that's their midnight in San Francisco. So I got these kind of skewed hours. And that was my least favorite part of the job, was sleeping during the day and trying to wake up and work throughout the night.
Now, how many people are at Mashables now?
About 60.
60, okay. Are they all, where are you based here in the U.S. now?
Our main office is in New York.
Okay.
We have a smaller office in San Francisco.
Oh, right.
And, but yeah, the story from there to here is very much just an ongoing process of, hey, where do we need to add more people to get to the next level? So
we only have, unfortunately, a minute or two left here, and I have 3 questions I want to ask you. And Mashable, strange name. What is it? Where did it come from?
So Mashable comes from the mashups trend. That
was really
mashups,
popular,
which people were actually in the web, but not the music scene. People were combining 2 different websites. So people would take Google Maps and Flickr and put them together and map all your photos on Flickr. Still happening now, but we call it app stores and, and APIs, and it's all about building on a platform.
The next question is success. When you think of the word success, what does that mean for you? I mean, personally, not for Mashables, but who do you compare yourself to, or where do you want to be?
Well, I think success is a process and it's a journey, right? And I don't think you ever get there. You always see the next thing that you're excited about making better.
Last question, subject probably near to your heart and near to my heart. Has the internet changed writing in a sentence or 2 or less?
How has it changed in a sentence or 2 or less?
Well, I think you have to do that because that's
the way the internet works.
Right, that's right.
You want it in 140 characters.
120 because I want to say at Pete Cashmore.
Okay. And you want to get the retweets.
Yeah, of course.
how is it?
Is that how it's done? Is it brevity? Is it less reporting? Is it more immediacy? There's a lot more first person for certain.
I think the fundamental change that all this technology has brought about is a rapid increase in volume, okay? Because it used to be that only selected people, if you had a printing press, you could publish.
Correct.
Now everyone can publish. Now there's some value in everything that's being published, even if it might seem irrelevant. What you have for breakfast today might seem completely irrelevant. But if you're a statistician trying to figure out, what are the meals being eaten across America, it's actually incredibly useful. So the trick is curation. It's to say, well, this piece of information is really, really important, and the role of the editor, the role of the writer is to find the stuff, the gems, because people don't have any time anymore. Right. So there's a rapid increase in volume, but the role of the editor still remains, which is to find the best stuff, to make sense of it, to know the audience, and to pick the stuff they're going to want to read.